Hello and welcome to the third edition of GNN, our global good news network, where you'll find the latest news of how God is working throughout our movement of churches. My name is Luke Speckman, and with me is my beautiful bride, Brandon Speckman, reporting to you from New York City.
Last month was absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to reflect on October's miracles, all that God has done in our churches, and the unity He's brought to the family of believers.
And in this month's edition, we'll give you the latest updates on the Rocktober campaign. We'll highlight our newest church plantings. We'll see a day in the life of disciples in India, and we'll show you the impact of the Crown of Thorns project across the nations, and so much more. Let's get started. God is moving powerfully in Bujumbura, Burundi, and specifically in the way He's using Satan's schemes for what we know will be a glorious victory. Just last week, we received word that several brothers in the church were illegally imprisoned for preaching the gospel. Apparently, a persecutor bribed police officers to arrest 3 of the leaders in the Bujumbura, Burundi church, even though Amadou, a preacher from Abidjan, had preached the word at the vice president's home this past January. Despite this setback, we have great news that not only have the brothers been released unharmed, but the church just celebrated the Bujumbura ICC inaugural service on November 1st with 244 souls in attendance. And if that's not enough, there were 40 baptisms in one day. This miracle took place at Bujumbura's Lake Tanganyika on October 30th, bringing Rocktober to an epic close. So far, we have 10 churches and remnant groups in 6 of the 29 nations of French-speaking Africa, giving us a total of 1,141 disciples in those nations. The distinction between a church and a remnant group has to do with leadership. A church will be planted and led by a trained evangelist, while a remnant group is led by someone who has valiantly stepped out on faith to start a group, even though we don't yet have the resources to send a planting to that city. With disciples in French-speaking nations of Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Republic of Benin, Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Republic of Burundi, your prayers are needed all the more as they fight to win souls for God. These are the people who will raise up the next generation of evangelists and women's ministry leaders, the very leaders that will take charge of the remaining 23 French-speaking African nations. To God be all the glory.
So amazing. Now, the South Asian disciples participated in the first ever virtual South Asia Missions Conference led by Raja and Debs Rajan. The conference was entitled Mission Possible, which took place on October 9th through the 11th. The Saturday session was broadcasted in 2 local languages. Although Hindi is the most widely spoken language, India has over 20 official languages and more than 19,000 dialects. The Hindi session drew a crowd of disciples from Nepal and northern India, while the Tamil session was for disciples from the southern part of India. The welcome from the Hindi session was done by Siraj and Anu from Orissa, located at the southeastern coastal India. They have now come to New Delhi for training. On Sunday, we saw the appointment of 2 evangelists and 2 women's ministry leaders, Tamil and Jayashri Selvan, the leaders of the Bangalore Church, along with Deepak and Mani Singh, the leaders of the South region of New Delhi Church. Congratulations to you all. We know you will preach the word. Also on Sunday, Raja preached a powerful message entitled Mission Possible. Let's take a look at a short clip from his sermon.
Let me tell you something. There is much work to be done here in our South Asian countries. I mean, we have Afghanistan to be taken care of. We need to send a mission team out there. We have Bangladesh, we have Sri Lanka, we have Bhutan, we have Pakistan, and we have much of India. There's a lot to do. Are you with me? So don't think that, oh, why was I not selected for the mission team? Well, there's a lot of places to go. We have 1.8 billion souls under us, a big responsibility that God has put in our hearts. 1.8 billion people. And we got to feel the burden. If you're really praying and if you're really begging God, then the next step is move on. You got to go, well, when is Bombay going? I want to be in the Bombay mission team. Tell me, bro, when is Hyderabad going? I want to be there. Bro, when is Colombo, Sri Lanka going? I want to be there. I want to be there in the mission team. I want to be there to go to Kashmir, or maybe Kerala, maybe Maharashtra, maybe Meghalaya. Maybe Himachal Pradesh, maybe Arunachal Pradesh, maybe Madhya Pradesh, maybe Uttar Pradesh, maybe Gujarat, maybe Uttarakhand, maybe Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. How about Andhra Pradesh? How about Assam? How about Bihar? How about Haryana? How about Jharkhand and how about Karnataka? How about Mizoram? How about Orissa? How about Nagaland and how about Punjab? How about Tripura, Tamil Nadu, Manipur, West Bengal, Telangana, Sikkim? How about those places? There's much work to be done. We got to have it in our hearts. God, please, I want to go to one of these places and go help people to go to you.
Our dear brother Raja is on fire. At the conclusion of the Sunday service, the Kolkata mission team led by John and Salma were sent out. All of the disciples were fired up. Now, since none of the mission team members speak the local language of Kolkata, they are all going to be taking Bengali lessons so that they can be effective. Their inaugural service will be in 2 weeks on November 22nd. Now, the total population of South Asia is 1.8 billion lost souls. This includes about 1 billion Hindus and almost 600 million Muslims. Currently in India, there are 28 states and 8 union territories. Our goal is to be in all 36. The plan to make this happen is Operation Tiger, which is similar to our Operation Eagle in the USA. It is so inspiring to see the work of the Lord as the South Asian churches are now at 468 disciples strong, with ministries in Kathmandu, Chennai, Bangalore, New Delhi, and now Kolkata.
Please keep the Bujumbura and Calcutta mission teams in your prayers. It's so amazing to be a part of a worldwide movement that believes in fulfilling the Great Commission. The pandemic has opened up many new opportunities because of our virtual presence, especially for our friends and family who are in other cities. Because we're a unified movement who teaches the same thing everywhere and every church, we are able to connect them with our sister churches in their local area. For example, our very own Raul Moreno in Brazil was able to connect his cousin Juan Carlos Perez to the disciples in Miami, and Juan Carlos was baptized on September 30th. As you all may know, during the pandemic, so many were baptized into Christ because they were referred by someone in a different church to your church. This is our worldwide family. And it's only in the kingdom that you have disciples willing to learn new languages, go anywhere, do anything, and give up everything in the hopes of saving just one more. Bujumbura and Calcutta represent just the last 2 international church plantings of 2020. We want to thank all the disciples around the world who sacrificed financially to special missions to make this possible, and the many who have answered the call to be on these mission teams. You are ambassadors for Christ and are inspiring so many with the true cost of discipleship.
Now, the Chennai, India church leaders, Pratap and Maggie, are going to take us through a day in the life of 2 of their precious disciples in their church.
Hi, bro.
Hi, bro.
Hi, bro. Morning.
Morning.
Come in. Come on. Revati has already made some tea and coffee for us.
Yeah.
And so she's giving. Of course, Ramkumar and Revati, they're known for their giving, so they don't hold back anything. So, bro, any time in the
4:30
4:30. Okay, so usually any time in the beginning.
4:30 5 o'clock prayer or Bible study. Most of 6 o'clock என்னோட ஜாப் வந்து 7 o'clock போகனால ஒரு 6 o'clock ரீஃப்ரெஷ் பண்ணிட்டு 6:30 வந்து லெஃப்ட் ஆகிடும். அதான் 7 o'clock இருந்து ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகிடும். 7:15 போயிருந்தோம். அதான் 7 o'clock போகிறதுனால நான் இருந்து half an hour ட்ராவல் இருக்கனால 6:30 நான் வீட்டில் இருந்து லெஃப்ட் ஆகும்.
Okay, so this is their living room. And okay, so this is their toilet, bathroom. Okay, there is a bathroom. And here comes the kitchen.
So, நீங்க பேக் பண்ணிடுவீங்க நான் 3:00 5 மணிக்கெல்லாம் எழுந்திரிச்சு முடிச்சுட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் காஃபி இது பண்ணுவேன். பசங்களுக்கு ஹெல்தியான ஃபுட்டு வந்து 10:30 அந்த மாதிரி இது கொடுக்குறது. மகி சிஸ்டர் எனக்கு சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்காங்க டைம். அதை வந்து மோகன் ஸ்வீட்டி கொடுக்குறது. ஒரு முட்டை, ஆஃப் ஆயில், இல்லைன்னா ஃப்ரூட்ஸு. இவங்க பாப்பாவை எப்படி இது பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு அதுவும் இந்த லாக்டவுனில் வந்து அவங்களுக்கு சூப்பு, கீரை அந்த மாதிரி கொடுக்குறது பண்ணுறது. காடு தேங்க்ஸ் சொல்லிட்டு திருப்பி ரிட்டர்ன் வந்து அவங்க எப்படின்னா சண்டே வர வைக்கிறதுக்கு ஃபோன் எல்லாம் பேசுகிறது. அவங்கள்ட்ட மார்னிங் குட் மார்னிங் சிஸ்டர் இதில் பண்ணுற மாதிரி எதுவுமே இல்லை. அப்புறம் கடவுளுடைய வேலையை தானே நம்ம செய்ய முடியாது. அவங்களுக்குன்னு தனியாக ஒரு வீக்கெட் முக்கியம். அதனால் எனக்கு அவ்வளோ தெரியல.
Okay, here we go.
2005 ஜாயின் பண்ணேன். 2005 வந்து நான் தேனாம்பேட்டை அப்பாயின்மெண்ட். அங்கே வந்து 12 வந்து தாம்பரம் வந்து கிளாஸ் பார்த்தேன். அங்கேருந்து 17 வந்தேன். 17லேருந்து இப்போ 3 இயர்ஸ்.
ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. நான் ராம்குமாரை லவ் மேரேஜ் தான் பண்ணேன். பட் அப்போ கிடைக்காத சந்தோஷம் இப்போ ரொம்ப கிடச்சிருக்கு. நான் அவங்களோட சேர்ந்து வெளியில் போகிறது, அவங்க எனக்கு ட்ரெஸ்ஸு கிஃப்ட் பண்ணுறது, பர்த்டே கிஃப்ட்டு சர்ப்ரைஸாக கொடுக்கறது எல்லாமே எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. என் ஃபேமிலி இப்படி மாறி இருக்காங்கன்னா என்னோட சொந்தக்காரங்களே ஆச்சரியப்படுறாங்க. ராம்குமார் அம்மாவே ஆச்சரியப்படுறாங்க. ரேவதி ராம்குமார் இப்படி மாறி இருக்காங்களா அப்படின்னு ரொம்ப இது பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. அதே மாதிரி என் பசங்களும் காலையில் இருந்துச்சா ப்ரேயர் பண்ணுறது ரொம்ப சூப்பராக சேஞ்சாக இருக்கும். எனக்கு உண்மையில ரொம்ப ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. அப்போ கிடைக்காத சந்தோஷம் இப்போ கிடைச்சிருக்கேன்.
ஈவினிங் ஒர்க் முடிஞ்சோன்னா நான் வந்து வீட்டுக்கு போய்ட்டு ரீஃப்ரெஷ் பண்ணோன்னே வெளியே போய்ட்டு யூஸ்வலாக டெய்லி இவாஞ்சலிசம் பிளான் இருக்க தான் செய்கிறாங்க. நிறைய பேரை கூட்டு வந்துருக்குறாங்க. இது வரைக்கும் ஒரு 50 பேருக்கு மேலே தான் இருக்கும். ஸ்டடி கூட்டு வந்தது, சர்ச்சு, சண்டே சர்வீஸ்க்கு, பைபிள் டாக் எல்லா இடத்துக்குமே மீட்டிங் வரும்போது எப்போதுமே விசிட்டரோட தான் வருவேன். என்னோடய லிஸ்ட்லேயே 13 விசிட்டர் வச்சு ஒரு 2000 அவ்வளோதான் நடந்துருக்கு. இவஞ்சலிசம் முடிஞ்சு ஸ்டடி ஏதாவது இருக்கும், அதெல்லாம் முடிஞ்சால் ஃபாலோ பண்ணலாம். முடிஞ்சுட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் வீட்டில் வந்து நம்ம டிஃபன் சாப்பிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் பசங்க கூட கொஞ்சம் நேரம் டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணிட்டு அவங்களோட படிப்பு பற்றி கேட்பேன். என்ன படிச்சிருக்காங்க, ஏதாவது நீங்கள் பகலில் என்ன பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவங்களோட கொஞ்சம் டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் நானும் ரேவதி நைட்டு நல்லா சாப்பிட்டு ப்ரே பண்ணி.
I think Ramkumar, the fireman, is really a fire-up man for God, and so he is his wife, Revati Ramkumar. Thank you.
Wow, how inspiring to see the level of courage and trust our brothers and sisters have in India.
I totally agree. At this time, we will have a brief commercial break. After that, we'll head down to Miami, Florida to hear the good news reported by Matt and Helen Sullivan about the TNT inaugural service.
For everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through the endurance taught in the scriptures and the encouragement they provide, we might have hope. Romans 15 verse 4. The Untold Story, Chronicles of Modern Day Christianity by Ron Harding is a must-read for every disciple. It is an inspiring historical account of how God has advanced his kingdom through Christian movements in our recent history, including the Restoration Movement, the Crossroads Movement, the Boston Movement, as well as God's New Movement. It also details the heart-wrenching attacks of Satan on God's people and how God has used them to continue to refine and mature us as his movement in this generation. Those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. Edmund Burke. Get your copy today. The Untold Story, Chronicles of Modern Day Christianity is available for purchase in full color or black and white on Amazon.
Hello and greetings from the Sages World Sector. I'm Matt Sullivan and this is my beautiful wife Helen reporting from Miami, Florida. We bring you an exciting report of the TNT inaugural service and more. As most of you know, Dr. Joe and Edie Garman of Thomasville joined God's modern day movement with their church of 18 disciples just this past August. Then we sent a team of campus students, led powerfully by Isaac and Deborah Gonzalez, to create the Thomasville and Tallahassee ICC, also known as the Dynamite TNT International Christian Church. October has officially marked the beginning of the church's highly anticipated inaugural service on Sunday, October the 4th. It was an incredible weekend with 151 people in attendance in person and 630 viewers in attendance online. Doctors Kip and Elena McKean joyfully welcomed everyone Zoom style, sharing good news from the churches around the world. Disciples from all over the country came together for this momentous occasion. Several disciples flew in to attend the service and brought their family and friends with them. It was an inspiring show of God's Spirit. The inaugural service was the perfect start to rock October for the rest of the month.
And that is exactly what happened. On the last Sunday of the month, October 25th, Matt preached a fitting lesson entitled Feed My Sheep, where he addressed the older disciples by challenging them on their maturity. Referencing the Luke 8 passage on the parable of the sower, Matt taught that just as the Bible teaches that once saved, always saved is false doctrine, also once mature, always mature is false doctrine. Also, the Garman family had a personal victory. Tyler, Dr. Joe and Edie's grandson, was baptized into Christ. Tyler's addition to the kingdom is a dream come true for the Garmans.
Another incredible addition was that of Eddie Orontis, who was restored to the Lord after becoming lukewarm over time. Spurred on by 3 years of persistence from our bold parish church leader, Anthony Olmos, Eddie made the courageous decision to live out God's purpose for his life again. Eddie's restoration is the official start of the Auburn, Alabama Remnant Group. With Eddie being employed at Auburn University, home of the War Eagles, it is clear to see that the Holy Spirit is making way for us to soar on wings like eagles in the mighty South.
Eddie was also the team leader of both our faithful Dubai mission team leader, April Baker, and current Dubai Church Women's Ministry leader, Sadvi Mendez. This man has had such an obvious impact in God's kingdom. And what a show of God's love to see that impact coming full circle.
This is Matt and Helen Sullivan signing off from Miami, Florida.
Now let's take a quick look at how the church continues to forcefully advance around the world.
God's movement is not only making its way across the United States, but to all nations. In Matthew 28, 18 through 20, Jesus says to make disciples of all nations. And here in God's modern day movement, disciples are doing just that through our Operation Eagle and Crown of Thorns projects. Acts chapter 1 verse 8 reads, "You will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth." This scripture lays the foundation of both of these missions and serves as the inspiration of our kingdom work. Operation Eagle is our plan to evangelize the United States by the year 2026, while the Crown of Thorns project is our vision to evangelize the world and plant churches in every nation, beginning with the most influential cities. Future U.S. plantings include Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Michigan, Idaho, Alabama, and Missouri, each to be planted in 2021. Nations slated to have a sold-out movement church in 2021 include Bahrain, Sri Lanka, Scotland, and Portugal. It is absolutely by the grace of God that despite the pandemic, the millions of travesties, and the many adjustments due to COVID-19, the kingdom of God is still forcefully advancing, with godly men and women continuing to take a hold of it. Please keep each of these plantings, their leaders and their missionaries, in your prayers as we continue to win the world for God's glory. This month's campaign, entitled Rocktober, has been more than successful as God has surely heard the prayers and seen the hard work of the believers. Let's take a look at some of the churches that have led the way in exponential growth. Before the planting of Calcutta, the 4 churches of South Asia, Bangalore, Chennai, New Delhi, and Kathmandu, had a collective goal of 52 baptisms in 52 days. God blew out their goal and gave them 54 baptisms in 52 days. And in Manila, Philippines, they grew by 28 in the month of October. And a special shout out to the teen ministry, which has now reached a staggering 93 disciples, the largest in the movement. Way to go, teens. The disciples in Africa have been on fire since the arrival of Blaise and Patricia Fumba in September. The church in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, led by the Fumbas, will serve as the pillar church for all French-speaking Africa. And with a church staff of 33, including those that are paid, unpaid, full-time, and part-time, campus and mercy, God is reinforcing the incredible partnership between Abidjan and our sister church in Kinshasa. Together, may they win all of French-speaking Africa for the Lord. However, winning nations is never without a fight. Due to COVID-19, strict travel restrictions are in place, and one must travel through 4 countries in order to enter Bujumbura, Burundi, where the newest mission team just arrived. As previously mentioned, the 3 brothers in Bujumbura were illegally put in jail. But as you can see, the brothers are imitating Paul and Silas in Acts chapter 16, where they prayed and sang hymns to God. Please be keeping these valiant disciples in your prayers. Over in the States, the Sages Metro Miami Church in Florida had 44 baptisms over the past 2 months, bringing the church to over 200 disciples strong. What a way to rock October. In the Southeast USA, the TNT Church originally began as the Thomasville Church with 18 disciples on August 23rd. Now, with the recent mission team from Miami led by TNT campus leaders Isaac and Deborah Gonzalez, they have had several baptisms and restorations. The church has now more than doubled, totaling 43 disciples in just 10 weeks. From Southeast to the Southwest, the growth has been astounding. In July, a supplemental mission team led by Corey and G. Blackwell was sent to San Diego, California. Since then, they've grown from 14 to 52 disciples, nearly quadrupling in size. In the Northeast, the Boston Church, led by Mike and Chanel Patterson, began the year with 53 disciples. As of this week, they have exactly doubled in size to 106. Great job, Boston. And finally, we want to highlight the Trailblazing Church in Chicago. On January 1st of this year, the church began with 131 disciples. A supplemental mission team led by John and Emma Kazi arrived on January 5th. After nearly 100 baptisms and 16 restorations, the church has more than doubled to 263 sold-out disciples. Also on January 1st, the campus ministry had 1 disciple on 1 campus, and now they have 50 disciples on 11 campuses, and many of those are student athletes. Way to go, Chicago! How faith-building it is to see God working so powerfully among the nations.
What a month! October was truly Rocktober, with God boldly establishing his kingdom on the rock, Jesus. The Bujumbura planting in Burundi, Africa, as well as the Calcutta planting in India, is only a fragment of God's global vision. Not to mention the work in the US with the TNT inaugural service, sparking the Auburn, Alabama remnant group with our dear brother Eddie's restoration. We are truly seeing God bless the deeds of our faith as a movement with the Crown of Thorns Project and Operation Eagle. Let's not forget Ron Harding's latest book, The Untold Story, Chronicles of Modern Day Christianity, now available on Amazon. It really has been a momentous month with incredible growth in our churches all across the nations.
The month of October has truly rocked.
Please be sure to subscribe to the GNN YouTube channel and tap on the bell icon to receive notifications of our latest episodes. Until next month, this is Luke and Brandon Speckman signing off for GNN.
The best news you'll ever hear.